What's going on, guys? Here are my first round grades from the 2026 NFL Draft. If you like this content, please make sure to like, follow, subscribe. Love all of y'all. Thank you. Number one pick, Fernando Mendoza. For me, it's a B+. We all knew this guy was going to be the pick going into this draft. He's not a generational prospect like a Peyton Manning or a Trevor Lawrence, but he checks so many boxes. Super high IQ, super accurate, good size, good arm, decent athlete. Not super athletic, but has more speed than you might think. Also, he's the kind of guy you want to be leading your football team, especially in a city like Vegas. You know he's got his head on straight. You know he's going to stay out of trouble and not get in any legal activities. It's a B+ for me. It can't be an A or an A+ because, again, like I said, he's not generational. But this was the pick. This was supposed to be the pick. It's a B+. He might prove me wrong and might be an AA+. If he does hit and he's a top 5 guy, I don't know if he will. I think he'll be around that 10 to 12 range as a quarterback in the NFL. But can't be mad about it. B+, Mendoza. Number 2, the New York Jets selected David Bailey over Arvell Reese. There was some controversy there, but I'm giving this grade just a solid B. This feels like a pick that the Jets didn't want to miss on. Some people may hate on the pick for playing it safe and not taking Reese, but I don't mind it one bit. Bailey was the best edge rusher in college football last year and the best in this draft. He is a deep bag of pass rushing moves with insane bend, a great first step, and legit power at his size. People are concerned about him as a run defender, and he wasn't bad at Tech in this regard, but he's not looked at as an elite run defender. I think he's such a great, powerful athlete that he will develop into maybe not an elite run defender, but a very good one, while also being a guy that could legit take over games and push for 15 sacks in the NFL. The Jets have stated he was just the better fit over Arvell Reese, so I understand this pick, and I trust Daryl Mugie and love the moves he's been making. Bailey will slot in as a day one starter at edge for them and be an immediate impact player, which they need badly after trading Quinn Williams and Sauce Gardner last year. Third, Arizona Cardinals drafting Jeremiah Love. This one's just a C+ for me, guys. I don't love this pick, but at the same time, I also don't hate it. I would have picked Reese if I were them, but the deal with Love is that you simply can't miss with this pick. He's more than likely going to be an all-pro level running back, but this team is just so far away from competing. Even if he's Bijan Robinson, which may be a slight stretch, it's still hard to imagine this pick being in the A range when we see with all the help of Bijan for Atlanta. When a team is far away from competing, they just often waste a running back's prime, which is probably the case in my mind for Jeremiah Love. With LaFleur in there now, we know how important running the ball is in this scheme, but Arizona also did add Tyler Algier as a quality back. Love will also be more than a running back. He has legit weapon abilities in the passing game like Bijan. But in my mind, I think Love will be fireworks with Arizona. But unfortunately, if I had to bet on this, I would bet he's not even with the Cardinals after his rookie deal is up. Tennessee Titans selected Carnell Tate. I'm giving this a C-. I get it, the Titans need a wide receiver badly, and obviously Tate was number 1 on their board. But this feels like a reach, especially when Reese is sitting there for you after he slid. I like Tate as a wide receiver prospect, but I really don't know if he'll ever be a true one. He's a great high-point catcher and can make contested catches with the best of them, but he doesn't have that extra juice like a Jordan Tyson. If there was a Jamar Chase-like prospect in this draft, it would have been an obvious A+ pick for Tennessee here, but there wasn't. In my mind, I had Tyson as the number 1 receiver. In my mind, it stings a little bit considering Mekhi Lemon fell to pick 20. When I viewed him as neck and neck as the best receiver prospects in this draft along with Tyson, this just feels like a reach in a team trying to fill a hole for a major need when they didn't really have to spend that quality pick at 4. I would have rather liked to see them trade down, maybe grab a Lemon, maybe grab a Tyson, whomever, and just collect more assets. Because again, like Arizona, this team is still pretty far away from competing, and a Carnell Tate is not a guy I think that's going to really put this team on the road to being a contender. 5, Arvell Reese, the New York Giants. I give this an A. This is a classic John Harbaugh pick. New York probably thought there was no way Reese would fall to them at 5. Linebacker isn't a need for New York at all, but Reese is a lot of people's top player in this draft, and John did what Baltimore does more times than not, and not look at all the team's needs and simply just draft the best player possible. More times than not, that is the strategy that pans out. Reese had the highest pass rush win rate in college football last year and only rudged the edge limitedly. If he hits, he will be the best pure football player in this draft. And I think he's only barely flashing the surface on who he could be. He's only 20 years old, and he moves truly different than most players in this year, which is why he's been compared to Micah Parsons. I really thought Schoen was going to mess this up, and they were going to take Tyson here. But kudos to New York for sticking to their board and going BPA, in my mind, the winning strategy more times than not with Arvell Reese. Pick 6, the Kansas City Chiefs selected Mansour Delane after trading with Cleveland. After losing Watson and trading Trent McDuffie, they also gave up a 3rd and 5th to acquire Delane. Delane is an awesome cornerback prospect, and odds are he's going to be really good in Spag's scheme as a physical corner that thrives in man-to-man, and will take the McDuffie role immediately. but I would personally rather have either Styles or Downs here. Kansas City is also extremely good at developing cornerback prospects that aren't elite talent. I would have been much more happy with them to sit tight at 9 and maybe take a Ruben Bain or a Sonny Styles, and then go get a cornerback prospect like a Colton Hood or someone like that at pick 29. So it's just a C+ for me. Commanders went with Sonny Styles at 7. I give this grade an A. Sonny Styles at 7 for 1 is a really good value, and 2, he fits a major need for Dan Quinn. This team added a lot on defense and free agency, but still lacks legit talent. Styles is one of the most polarizing linebacker prospects we've ever seen. Washington struggled a lot in the pass and the run last season, and Styles should help both those categories and immediately be an impact player for them on defense. They couldn't finish tackles last season. They ranked 31st in missed tackles, and Styles was the only player with at least 50 tackles to have a miss rate of 0. He is still also super young, and I think can develop even more as a weapon as a pass rusher. This is similar to the Reese pick in my mind here. I thought Washington was going to snag Tyson here after Tate went so early, but I think they absolutely made the right call going with Sonny Styles. At pick 8, the New Orleans Saints went with Jordan Tyson. This grade is just a B for me. Tyson obviously has injury concerns, but if this guy stays relatively healthy, he's going to be the best wide receiver in this draft and going to look like a steal. But the injuries are a real concern. He tore his ACL in 22, broke his collarbone in 24, and dealt with hammy issues most of last season. If this guy stays healthy, him and Chris Olave are going to be a nightmare for opposing defenses. Shout out to the Saints, though. All of a sudden, they have a super exciting young offense. This pick, too, will show if Tyler Shough is truly the guy. As a very old second-year quarterback, if Shough can't produce with this offense, then they will at least know he's not the guy. A lot of teams waste so much time on quarterbacks to develop, but Shough is already older now with a ton of fun weapons around, so it's put up or shut up time for him, and the only reason this grade isn't higher is because of the potential for Tyson to have serious injuries, really for the most of his career. We've seen it happen through Arizona State. This guy has serious durability concerns. At pick 9, after trading with Kansas City, the Cleveland Browns took Spencer Fanu. I'm giving this a B+. If Cleveland took him at 6, my grade would be lower, but the fact they picked up a day 2 and a day 3 pick here is great value. Cleveland was probably going to take him this 6 either way, but Fanu fits a huge need after Cleveland lost a ton of offensive linemen in free agency. He still is a tiny bit raw, but this guy has all the talent in the world to be a legit all-pro left tackle for years to come. Whether it be Shedeur or whoever Cleveland drafts at quarterback next year, they can go to bed easy now knowing that they have their blindside protector for hopefully the next 10-plus seasons. 10, the New York Giants selected Francis Mauigoa. I'm giving this a B. Francis right now is slotted in at right guard for New York. I really think they would have gone with Tyson if he was there, but again, this is just a Harbaugh pick. New York has invested so much in the O-line in recent years and have had a lot of misses, but Francis, in my mind, is a super safe prospect, whether he's at guard or tackle. He's a nasty giant mauler with a great anchor. New York had to go some direction on offense here to help out Dart, and I may have gone with Lemon, but Mauigoa is a fine pick. Worst case in my mind, if he stays at guard, he'll probably be an all-pro, which I can't get too mad at picking. Pick 11, the Dallas Cowboys selected Caleb Downs after trading with Miami to trade 2/5. I give this one a solid A+. Caleb Downs was the number 1 player on a lot of people's boards going into this draft. He will fit perfectly in Christian Parker's scheme as that nickel player, kind of like Cooper DeJean was when Parker was there in Philadelphia. He could play in safety, he could play outside, he could play in the nickel, he could play down at linebacker. He really is that true chess piece and that queen piece for Christian Parker to really just slot up anywhere and just inject A+ premium talent and an A+ player in this scheme. This is exactly the kind of guy that Dallas needed for this defense for now and in the future. I love this pick. I don't care about trading the 2-5s. They got their guy. This is a solid A+ in my mind. 12, after trading with Dallas, Miami took tackle from Bama, Caden Proctor. This is an F. This pick just screams bust to me. Proctor reminds me a lot of Evan Neal, both super giant, great athletes, both super raw in their pass pro, and both needed a ton of work to develop. This also felt a little early to hear his name called. Miami has nothing on this team, and they should have just gone with BPA in my mind, with Bain in mind, or even Lemon. This feels like a pick where the team just thinks they know more than the rest of the league. This is too cute of a pick this early, and I personally wouldn't be shocked if Proctor is a complete miss, and we forget he even got drafted by Miami at 12 a few years from now. I hate this pick. I think he's going to be a disaster in Miami. Pick 13, the LA Rams took Ty Simpson. I'm giving this one a C+. This pick really boils down to if you believe in Les Snead and if you believe in Sean McVay and them developing the right quarterback. In one hand, this could be a Michael Penix situation, right, to where they pick the guy at this high in the draft and they don't really need him and maybe it doesn't pan out a year or two down the line. Or it could be like a Jordan Love. You know, when they took Love, the team didn't really need Love. Ty Simpson, though, After 8 games, we all thought he was going to be a top 5 pick. Fell off later in the Bama season. I think it's the perfect situation for him to land. He could learn behind Stafford and McVay. And I'm not going to give it a higher grade because it is a very ballsy pick at 13. He was not supposed to go this high. But at the same time, in my mind, I believe in Sean McVay. I believe in Les Snead and their vision. And I trust this organization more than any if they're going to take a quarterback this early to develop and to turn it into a stud. I think Ty will have all the opportunity in the world post-Stafford era. And if he doesn't hit, it's on him because he is in the exact opportunity in place to make it happen. But for right now, it is still risky because you could have used this pick to help Stafford's small Super Bowl window. So it's just a C+ for me right now. All right, pick 14, Baltimore selected Ola Ione. I give this an A-. This one's simple. This guy was the best guard in the draft. Baltimore needs interior offensive line help bad, especially after losing Tyler Linderbaum. They didn't overthink this play here. Eric DeCosta, again, Ozzie Newsome here. He normally picks smart, logical plays, and that's what he did here with Ola. This guy's going to slot in as a day one starter, and I think probably be close to a Pro Bowl level guard in year one and really be a foundation piece on this offensive line for years to come. Love this pick, A-. 15, Tampa Bay Bucks snagged Ruben Bay Jr. I give this an A-. Personally, don't love Bain as a prospect, and I am very concerned with his measurables, but I didn't see him falling this far. And yes, he has some of the shortest arms we've seen. And we look at the history of defensive ends with that short of arm length. They don't even ever, 1, get drafted. 2, they don't even really exist. So it will be very interesting to see if that is a big factor for Ruben Bain in the NFL. But put it simply, this guy is a baller. He absolutely terrorized college football last year at Miami. Super disruptive, super heavy hands. I think he may be better off in the inside than on the outside. But regardless, it is an A-. This is a super good value for one of the top defenders in the draft in Tampa Bay. Just went with the board and took the best player on the board and also helps them out a lot because they have a defense that does not have a lot of good young end talent. So I think this is a fine pick here for Tampa, A-. 16, the Jets took Kenyon Sadiq. I'm giving this one a C-, guys. Kenyon Sadiq, super fun prospect, super athletic. It's really easy to fall in love with this guy's physical traits and physical makeup. But for me, this team drafted Mason Taylor in the second round last year, who looked like a fine player. And also, first-round tight ends bust all the time. They have the highest bust rate out of any position to go in the first round. And this guy also didn't produce it all at Oregon. I know if you want to say the team ran the ball a ton, you could say that, but the production wasn't there. It's really just a pick based solely on upside. And I don't really love that when your roster has so many other needs and other shoes to fill. And when this pick just misses all the time, it's just a C- for me. I do not love this pick one bit. 17, the Detroit Lions went with Blake Miller. I give this one a C+. Not much to write home on here. If you liked Monroe Freeling more, that would have been a fine pick. We probably knew Detroit was going to go with an offensive lineman here, and the reports were that Dan Campbell loved this guy. I think he fits the culture. He may have not been the most talented tackle on the board. In my mind, it was Monroe Freeling, but this guy, super good in pass pro, just a mauler, mean, physical, giant tackle, and he fits the Detroit mentality and identity, so I can't get too mad at this pick. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's just a C+. At 18, the Vikings took a shocker here with Caleb Banks. I'm giving this one a D. Caleb Banks may be a top 10 player in this draft solely based off of his talent. He's giant, he's strong, he's physical, he's insane. He has an insane physical makeup, but the problems are with this guy, obviously, is the injury concerns. He went to his pro day, went to the combine, he ran, and then he stepped off because they stated he had a broken bone in his foot. When this guy played at Florida, he had some of the best tape in the nation, and if he is healthy, he will be an absolute force to be reckoned with. But it's pretty hard to wrap my head around this pick and be too happy about it, to take him in the top 20 because the injury and durability concerns are legitimate with this guy. And in my mind, I had the same kind of medical thoughts with Jermod McCoy, who went in the 4th round. But instead, Minnesota took this guy in the top 20. He might prove all of us wrong and stay relatively healthy and be an all-pro badass, just game wrecker. But this is too rich of a risk for me in my mind to take in the top 20, so it's just a D. At 19, the Carolina Panthers took Georgia's tackle, Monroe Freeling. I give this one a C+. I actually like Monroe Freeling more than Blake Miller. And if Carolina had a need here at the tackle spot, I would like this pick a lot more. They just have a lot of bodies at tackle. They signed Rasheed Walker in free agency, who's one of the best tackles on the market. They have a Okonkwo who is battling an injury, but they brought in Walker to potentially sub out for him if need be. And they also have Taylor Moton, who's still a fine tackle. This just didn't really feel like the best use of their resources. And Freeling looks like a guy that's probably going to be slated at tackle spot. I don't know where he fits in year one. I think he might be a backup initially off the rip. And Carolina still has needs elsewhere, whether it be at the skill position spots or in the secondary. So I don't love this pick. I don't hate it because I think he's a good prospect, though. It's just a C for me. At 20, the Philadelphia Eagles selected Mekhi Lemon after trading up with the Dallas Cowboys. I give this grade an A. Mekhi Lemon is an awesome route runner. I know he has some weird off-the-field concerns and his interview process was weird, but this guy's a baller, and this is a type of Howie Roseman pick that hits more times than not. This guy, a lot of scouts had as their number one receiver in the entire draft. We saw Tyson go at 8. We saw Tate go at 4. So this is a hell of a value to get him here at 20. And I think this just shows that A.J. Brown's probably on his way out, and they got their new rookie stud receiver to fill on a rookie deal. This is a classic Howie Roseman move, a good talent at a good value and a good player. I love this pick all around. And you know what? They gave the 2 forces to move up and get their guy, but shout out Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman does not miss in the first round. I love this pick. Sucks as a Cowboy fan to say that, but I do. It's an A. Pick 21, the Pittsburgh Steelers selected Max Ironacre. I give this a B. Khan has invested so much in the offensive line in recent years, and this shows me that they aren't sure about Broderick Jones after suffering a season-ending surgery. Ironacre has the tools to play guard if need be, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. This pick does feel like a big need for them, but this guy is still so raw, not even sure if he'll start right away. But he only started playing football a few years ago, so his upside is through the roof. He's a great athlete. He's a little bit raw, obviously, but I don't love this pick because they kind of already have guys in place, but I also don't hate this pick because they do need help on the offensive line as a whole. This is just a solid B for me. At pick 22, Akeem Mesidor went to the Chargers. I give this a B+. After losing Odafe away, they need someone to replace him. Mesidor is a versatile chess piece on the defensive line who I think will come in immediately and make impact plays. He has some of the deepest pass rushing moves in this entire draft. Obviously, the concerns are with this guy is he's 25 years old. He's one of the oldest prospects on the board. But for a team like the Chargers, he fills a significant need. He plays a premium position. And this is a team that's ready to win right now. I understand him going to the Chargers. If this was a team like the Titans or Jets who aren't ready to win right now, I wouldn't like this pick as much. But because LA is in a spot where they say, hey, we want to win right now. We want good quality football players who aren't going to miss. I actually like this pick a lot. It's a B+ for me. At 23, the Cowboys selected Malachi Lawrence after trading back with Philly. I give this grade a B+. This guy is an insane athlete and earned a relative athletic score of 9.94 out of 10, finishing above the 97th percentile in explosive grades and in the 99th percentile in edge rusher speed. He's a rawer prospect than you'd like to see in the first, and he does lack run defense. He will probably be used mostly in passing situations early on, but I still like the pick. Dallas needs edge rush help and also picked up 2 4s in the process, and really he could start as a depth piece for Dallas and get in on pass rushing opportunities. He's not going to be a day one starter, so I like the pick. Guy with a ton of upside and just a great athlete at a premium position. I can't be mad about this pick at all, and I love it for my boys. It's a B+. At pick 24, the Cleveland Browns took KC Concepcion. I give this a C. Look, I get it. This guy is really easy to fall in love with. He's got blazing speed. He's a crazy athlete, but I just don't know if I see it. This guy is not a polished route runner at all. He doesn't have the best hands in the world, and I kind of see an Xavier Worthy-like career for him panning out. And he just is a guy that I feel like in Cleveland, whether it be Shedeur or whether it be the quarterback they get next season, that we're going to forget in a few years they even drafted him. I just don't see a world really where he steps up and becomes the guy for them. And Cleveland, though, didn't have a ton of needs, but I just don't like the team fit here, and I don't love the player, so it's just a C. All right, at 25, the Bears took Dylan Thieneman. I'm giving this a grade A. The Bears lost Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, Nahshon Wright. They lost a lot of dogs in their secondary over this past offseason. And Dylan Thieneman, I think, will step up and be an immediate day one starter. This guy doesn't have the highest ceiling in the world, but his floor is super freaking high. He's got great instincts. He's a great tackler. He's great in coverage. He's really an A- player in a lot of regards. He doesn't have like one trait that stands out. But I think for a Bears defense that's ready to win right now, they got a ready-made, a win-now player with a good value, because a lot of these scouts had this guy going potentially in the top 15. So I think this is a kind of a steal of a pick to get him here at 25. And again, I love it. Day one starter, super safe pick. Love this pick in A. At 26, the Texans selected Keelan Rutledge after trading with the Buffalo Bills. I give this a B. Not too much to write home on Keelan Rutledge. He's kind of your typical guard that'll slot in and start day one for Houston most likely. He's a ready-to-win-now player, not a sexy pick at all. But this Houston team, they don't have a lot of needs. If you could point at any needs, it's probably in the interior offensive line. So I can't get too mad about this pick. This guy will be a day one starter and fills a need. It's a B for me. At 27, the Dolphins selected Chris Johnson. I'm giving this a B as well. Chris Johnson, really good cornerback, one of the top cornerback prospects in this entire draft process. In Miami, like I talked about with Proctor, They could have gone BPA. In my mind, he wasn't BPA, but he does fill a position of need. The team does need help really everywhere. And I do like it, though, that they have Jeff Hafley now, a defensive-minded guy. Go get him some defensive help and go get one of the top cornerback prospects in the draft. It's not too sexy of a pick. It's not too bad of a pick. It's just a solid B for me. At 28, the New England Patriots selected Caleb Lamu after trading with the Bills. This one's a B+ for me. Caleb Lamu, teammate of Spencer Fanu. Tackle out of Utah. This guy is super raw, but this guy is super athletic, super nimble on his feet. Really good pass pro technique, decent in the run game. Doesn't have the best anchor in the world, but this is kind of a developmental piece that I think New England can afford. And whether they want to put him at tackle and kick in Will Campbell to guard, or maybe have this guy start as a depth piece, I think the coaching staff in New England, if any franchise will get the most out of him, it will be them and Mike Vrabel and those guys. I like this pick a lot. It fills a position of need. It gives them some versatility on the offensive line. And again, like if he's going to hit anywhere, it's probably going to be in New England. So it's a B+ for me. At 29, the Kansas City Chiefs got Peter Woods. I'm giving this an A. The fact KC went with a DB with their first pick meant I thought they were going D-line with this pick, and that's what they did. Peter Woods, one of the most talented players in this draft class. If this draft was last year, Peter Woods probably would have been a top 10 pick. He had a down year at Clemson along with TJ Parker and a lot of these other guys. There was something weird in the air there, but Peter Woods is going to step in and be an immediate just badass in the run game from day one. And he has all the physical tools and the nimble feet and the athlete kind of like that you want to see from a defensive tackle, I think, to develop into a badass pass rushing pro in that defensive tackle spot. And I think with Spags, we'll get the most out of this guy. I absolutely love this pick, and I could see Peter Woods a few years from now being a legit, borderline all-pro guy and just a havoc in the middle of that defensive line and help out Chris Jones and those guys. I love this pick for Kansas City. It's an A. At 30, the New York Jets selected Omar Cooper after trading with San Fran. I give this grade an A. The Jets needed some receiver help badly, and they get, in my mind, the fourth best receiver in this draft. Omar Cooper looks like a running back with the football in his hands. You go watch his Utah tape. Half his production is coming off just screen passes. This guy looks like a prime Deebo Samuel in my mind with the football in his hands. He can also go up and get it too with the best of them. I think he complements Garrett Wilson very well and gives the Jets some firepower and some burst on the offense that desperately needs it. And it's also a good value. I saw a lot of mocks having this guy go in the early 20s, late teens. So I think New York did a really good job here. Moogie, shout out. It's an A. At 31, the Tennessee Titans selected Keldrick Falk after trading with the Niners. I give this grade a B. I don't love Keldrick Falk as a prospect. I know he's oozing with upside, but this guy only had 2 sacks last year. He had 7 the year before. He's a super young athlete as well. But when you go watch this guy's tape, he just looks like someone that's not really fully grown into his body. He doesn't have a lot of violence. He doesn't have a lot of bend. He's a bigger guy, and he is a very good run defender, and I think his calling card may be as a run-stuffing defensive end. Maybe you kick him into defensive tackle. And if he is able to develop his pass-rushing abilities and his technique, he could develop into a badass player, and this would be an A-plus pick. But for Tennessee, I don't mind it as much because, again, like this team's timeline is not to win right now. It's for the future. And Keldrick Falk is a guy that can go learn from the Jeffrey Simmons of the world and the Saleh now who's there in Tennessee. And I think this is a kind of pick and a team that can afford to potentially miss on a Keldrick Falk if need be and bet on the upside. So I don't love this pick. I don't hate it. I think it's a perfect spot for Keldrick Falk, and Bob Saleh development's a B. And with our last pick here at 32, the Seattle Seahawks selected Jadarian Price. I'm giving this grade a C+. Jadarian Price, second best running back in this draft, obviously fits a massive need for Seattle, who lost Kenneth Walker in free agency and also had Zach Charbonnet go down with a nasty injury. This guy is a very good, just pure runner of the football. If Jeremiah Love wasn't in town, this guy might have gone even higher. But on the flip side, Seattle could have put the tag on Kenneth Walker, brought him back for really next to nothing because they have the cap now to do it. But this guy, when you watch him, he looks like a prime Dallas Tony Pollard, which I love as a player. And you know what? If this guy does hit, Seattle has him on a rookie deal with the 5th-year option. Fits a need, and this is really kind of just like a fuck you pick from John Schneider because they don't really have any needs anywhere else. So he's like, you know what? We're just going to grab the second best running back in our draft. Again, I don't love this pick because I think it could have got better value, but he does fit a major need for the team, and I think he's a really good runner. But this was also a very weak running back class, so it's also like fair to wonder if this guy really is a first-round prospect. If there were better backs in this draft, he probably would have slid to round 2, maybe even round 3 potentially. But I don't love it, don't hate it. Guys, if you like this type of content, please make sure to like, follow, subscribe. I love all of you. I love all the support. Peace out. Thank you.